Air binding and priming in centrifugal pump. Now let us understand what is air binding first. Basically, air binding is when pressure developed in the pump impeller is proportional to the density of the fluid in the impeller. This is the basic situation where in the pump pressure developed by that pump impeller is proportional to the density of that fluid in the impeller. If air enters the impeller, pressure developed is reduced. When there is air enters in the pump impeller, at that time pressure developed is reduced, and that is not desirable situation. So if air enters in the pump, then pressure is reduced in the pump impeller, and at that time pump is not capable to force the liquid through the discharge line, because due to pressure development pump impeller is capable of transferring liquid from the suction line to the discharge line. And now if air enters the pump impeller, there is reduction of pressure in the impeller. So what happened? Pump is not capable of transferring liquid from the suction line to the discharge line. And that condition is known as air binding of the pump. So in general I can say that when air enters the pump impeller, there is reduction of pressure in the pump impeller, and due to that pump is not capable of transferring liquid from suction line to discharge line, and that condition is known as air binding of the pump. And at that time, the pump is not capable of transferring liquid. To remove this condition or to resolve this condition of air binding, pump needs priming. Got my point? If air enters the impeller, there is reduction in pressure, and due to reduction in pressure, pump is not capable of transferring liquid from the suction line to the discharge line. That condition is known as air binding of the pump. And to remove this air binding of the pump, or to remove the air from the pump impeller, pump needs priming. Right? So now let us see what is the priming. The removal of air from the suction line and pump casing is known as priming. Or I can say that priming is a solution of air binding. Right? So removal of air from the suction line and the pump casing is known as priming. Now let us see what is priming and how we can do the priming in the pump. Priming is done by first filling the suction line and pump casing with liquid before starting of the pump. Remember this thing, before starting of the pump, priming is done by first filling the whole suction line and the pump casing with liquid. At that time, the delivery valve is closed. That is very important criteria. The pump is started with delivery valve closed, so that what happens? Rotating impeller pushes the liquid in the delivery pipe. Imagine that situation that at the starting of the pump, delivery valve is closed. Pump impeller is started. So what will happen? The pressure is developed, and that due to pressure, the liquid from the suction line is enter in the pump impeller. But at that time delivery valve is closed. So pressure is increased in the casing. And finally we open the delivery valve so that air is forced with the liquid in the delivery pipe. So finally when we open the delivery valve, so that what will happen, air is displaced by the liquid to be pumped. Got my point? So air binding and priming are interrelated. So in short, I can see that when air enters the impeller, at that time pressure is reduced in the pump impeller and the liquid cannot deliver to the discharge line. So to remove this air binding or to remove the air from the suction line, pump needs priming. And for doing priming, what we have to do? Priming is done by closing the delivery valve and then pump is started so that rotating impeller pushes the liquid in the delivery pipe. And as we open the delivery valve, what will happen? The air is displaced by liquid to be pumped. And by this way we can do priming to remove air binding in the pump. So these are the two situations which will happen in the centrifugal pump, which is known as air binding, and to remove air binding we will do priming in the pump. Got it? Now let us move to the second condition in the centrifugal pump, which is known as cavitation in centrifugal pump. Now what is this cavitation? If pressure in the suction line is less than the vapor pressure of the liquid, then some of the liquid is flashes into vapor. This phenomena is called cavitation. Again I am repeating. When pressure in the suction line is less than the vapor pressure of the liquid. Now what is this vapor pressure? Vapor pressure of any liquid is the pressure at which liquid start to convert into vapor, and it is not a desirable situation. Clear? What is vapor pressure? Pressure at which liquid starts to convert into vapor. That means at that pressure liquid vaporization is started. Fine. So pressure in the suction line must be greater than the vapor pressure of the liquid. So if pressure in the suction line is less than the vapor pressure of the liquid, then some of the liquid flashes into vapor. This phenomena is known as cavitation. When cavitation occurs, liquid will not be pumped. When cavitation occurs, liquid will not be pumped. So when pressure in the suction line goes below the vapor pressure of the liquid, liquid starts to flashes into vapor. And that condition is known as cavitation, and when cavitation occurs, liquid cannot be pumped. The occurrence of cavitation, how we can know that now cavitation is started? Then there is a symptoms of cavitation. Now what is that? The occurrence of cavitation can be noted by marked increase in noise and vibration. When cavitation starts, pump gives noise and vibration. The noise of the pump is increases, vibration is increases when cavitation starts. So it is the notification of cavitation. And cavitation will not be take place when some of the velocity and suction head at the suction is sufficiently greater than the vapor pressure of the liquid. So to avoid cavitation, the pressure in the suction line should be greater than vapor pressure of the liquid. Clear? So, when pressure in the suction line is less than the vapor pressure of the liquid, then some of the liquid flashes into vapor, and that condition is known as cavitation. And it can be noted by increased noise and vibration in the pump. And that can be eliminated by keeping pressure in the suction line higher than the vapor pressure of the liquid. So, these are the conditions like air binding, priming and cavitation. Now, how we can avoid this cavitation? So, let us see the next topic, which is NPSH, which is very important in case of centrifugal. NPSH stands for net positive suction head. In order to avoid cavitation, the pressure at the suction point of the pump must be higher than the vapor pressure of the liquid, as I told you. And NPSH must be calculated by taking into consideration the absolute pressure of the liquid, the level of the pump, velocity head in the suction line and friction head in the suction line. If required value of NPSH is not obtained, then partial vaporization is likely to take place. That means cavitation occurs. If NPSH is not obtained, then there is a chances of cavitation in both suction and delivery valve. So, to avoid cavitation, NPSH must be obtainable. Now, how we can calculate this NPSH? NPSH is defined as net head developed at the suction of the pump in excess of the head due to vapor pressure of the liquid at the temperature of the pump. And NPSH must be positive value in preventing the liquid from boiling or from vaporization. That means cavitation. And due to cavitation when cavitation happens, it may damage the pump. So, according to the definition, I can write that NPSH is equals to P by rho G plus V square by 2G plus Z at the suction minus PV upon rho G. Now, what is the PV? PV is the vapor pressure of the liquid and the pump is placed at height Z above the free surface of the liquid, and where the atmospheric pressure is P and suction velocity is V. So, this is the formula to calculate NPSH, that is net positive suction head. So, by this formula I can calculate net positive suction head. And to avoid cavitation, or I can say and to avoid vaporization of the liquid in the pump, we have to keep NPSH value positive. Then and then we can prevent cavitation in the pump casing. Fine. So, in today's lecture, in today's session, we have covered different characteristics of centrifugal pump. Air binding, to remove air binding we have to done priming, then cavitation. To remove cavitation we must keep NPSH value, that is net positive suction head value, to be positive. Hope these topics are clear to all. So that's all for today's session. Thank you.